common question that I get asked by new leaders, emerging leaders, when I'm working with them is, how do I lead a meeting? And it seems a very simple, straightforward question, but it actually is a really important one, because leading effective meetings is a core part of leadership communication. I'm Maureen. Welcome to Unlock Speaking Confidence, episode 13. And today I am going to be taking a look at 5 key questions that you should ask before you set up that meeting. Because how much time have you spent in meetings where you're sitting there thinking, this is a waste of my time, I could be doing something better, what's the point, why am I here? So let's take a look, when you are in that role of leading the meeting, what you can ask yourself to make sure that you are setting it up for success. And the first question, number 1, do we need a meeting? Is a meeting the most effective way for you to communicate with your team, whatever the message is, whatever the reason is? Have a look and see, is this something that actually requires a meeting, or could it be done just as effectively through Slack, through email, through whatever collaborative system it is that you're using within your organization? Secondly, be very clear on what the purpose of the meeting is. So is it a brainstorming session? Is it to kick off a new project? Is it a planning meeting, a decision-making meeting? Is it where you are sharing information? Because if it's a sharing information or a status report meeting, maybe you don't actually need a meeting for that one. Back to point 1. So have a think about, what's the purpose of it? What are you achieving by holding this meeting? Third question, who needs to be there? Remember back to that question that I asked at the beginning, how many times have you been sitting at a meeting thinking, this is a waste of my time, what am I even doing here? So think, who needs to be at the meeting? Keep your numbers small so that it is going to be as effective and as productive as possible. If it is a case that you need to have a meeting with lots of stakeholders, do they all need to be there for the entire meeting? Could you have a general briefing session for everybody and then let some groups go because they're no longer required and catch up with them at a later stage? Have a think about what is really going to work well. Because when you are in one of these meetings, take a look around. See all of the people who are there in the room with you or on that Teams call with you. And how much per hour is it costing for each of those to attend your meeting? And if that meeting is not the most effective use of their time, then that is an expense that you really can't afford. The fourth point that you're taking a look at is related to that expense, because time is money. How much time do you need to allocate for this meeting? And if your standard meetings are an hour long, could this be reduced to 45 minutes? If your standard meetings are 30 minutes long, can you cut it back to 20 minutes? When you have finished the meeting and there's time left over, do you let people go, or do you stay on, people talk about other issues or other topics? How can you use the time most effectively? And very often we feel that we need a lot of time for discussion at meetings, where sometimes a 15-minute meeting can actually be really effective to get that message across, to get that discussion done, to make that decision that you need. And the 5th step is, how are you going to follow up with the next steps? Who's going to write up the minutes and send them on? Who's going to follow up to make sure that people are doing what they've said that they're going to do? So in summary there, the key points that we were taking a look at for how to get yourself set up effectively for good meetings, productive meetings, that people aren't going to be throwing their eyes to heaven when they see this meeting is coming up, because they know it's going to be a valuable use of their time. So first of all, do you need a meeting? Secondly, what type of meeting is it? Thirdly, who needs to be there? Fourthly, how much time needs to be allocated for the meeting, or how little time needs to be allocated for the meeting? And then finally, what's the next step? How's it going to follow up? Hope you find that helpful. In the next video that I'm going to be doing, in next week's video, I'm going to be taking a look at how to be more inclusive in your meetings to make sure that everybody who's there is heard. That's part of what your role is when you're leading meetings. So I hope you join me then. My name is Maureen from Soft Skills Success, and this has been episode 13 of Unlock Speaking Confidence.